What's up, amigos, and welcome back to the Sancha and Sancho podcast. As always, my name is Anthony. I'm one of the hosts of the show. And the other host, as always, to my left, the beautiful Cindy.
Hey, what's up, amigos? ¿Qué pasa?
And we're glad that you guys are tuning in. But first, before we get into this, I hope you guys hit that like button and that subscribe button and hit that little bell over there to make sure you guys get notifications every time we drop a new podcast like this one. One of the best ways that you guys can support our podcast is go check out our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Submission Nutrition. Check out this bag. It's almost empty. We eat the heck out of it. We love this stuff. Please go check them out. I hope you guys find some value in this, as we have definitely found some value. We love this stuff.
Yeah.
And go check out our website. Go buy a t-shirt.
And if you go and buy some Submission Nutrition, just make sure you add Sancha, our discount code, to get some 20% off your entire order.
Absolutely. And this week we had the opportunity to sit down with somebody who is an online coach, a personal trainer. He is honestly somebody who motivated the hell out of me today. He's a parent. He's a husband. Everything that we talked about today, he hit it right on the nail. It was perfect, very inspiring. I hope you guys find the same amount of value that we did in this, because I'm going to go through this and listen to it a bunch of times. This was perfect.
Same here.
So let's just get right into this. Let's not waste any more time. This is our conversation with Zerek Knight. All day, so
I never had it. That's nice.
yeah, these liquid deaths, they're pretty cool.
I know, actually, that's like
Scared
my
me
first
for a
time.
minute. I was like, liquid death. What is it?
I know. I was like, what the
You're
heck?
like, I asked for water, not for like beer or something.
What's this? Mad Dog 2020? What is this? It's Reserve Steel. But yeah.
Yeah,
want
they're
water,
actually
Cindy?
they're pretty good.
You want like something there?
No, I'm okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Cool. Really, why we wanted to have you here is 'cause we're really curious, and we kind of saw everything. It looks like you're a personal trainer.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like you're kind of jumping into the mindset kind of coach thing.
Yes.
We saw the acting modeling thing. I'm very curious about that.
Yes.
You're also a parent.
Mm-hmm.
How many kids do you have?
2.
2 kids.
5, and my youngest will be 3 in December.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Congratulations. That's
Thank you.
beautiful.
Thank you.
I mean, that seems, already for me, that seems very overwhelming. And then I started diving into your Instagram, and it doesn't end there. You're not just a one-job kind of guy.
No.
It looks like you're really wrapped up in a ton of different things. So can you list them for me?
I always forget about some stuff that I do. I kind of look at myself more as I'm a lifestyle coach, right? I used to dive into like these career or job or descriptions, but I found like this is who I am. Let me find avenues that would allow me to do these things and help the most people that I can help. So like you said, father, I do acting, modeling, shifted more from personal training to group fitness training just because I wanted to touch a lot more people at once. And once I had kids, it was harder to just be in a gym all day. So it's like, all right, I can have like be in a gym all day and hit like 10 clients, or I can have a group of 30 people come all in 1 hour and do a couple classes. So I focus more towards that. But I've kind of trimmed it back to just the acting, modeling that pops up. Like, it's almost like a lottery for me. It's like, I'm chilling. It's not something that I seriously, like, I got to make it on, the next soap opera. But it's kind of like they just send me stuff and I'm like, all right, I can say yes or no to it. And it's actually good money in it. And I have fun with it. So I love that. But I would say the passionate thing, I was like, almost like a lifestyle coach. I really focus on how do I help people. I do, if you look at my workouts, my atmosphere that I create for people is what you'll see most. Like I'm not the super technical guy. Like, all right, I want to be excited about, writing up this program for people. Like I do like basic stuff. I can personally do crazy stuff, but I like basic stuff because I want to be able to help the most people. But people can see my energy and the motivation and the inspiration I bring to the class or to my clients that I help with. Just like, holding them accountable to their goals and teaching them about nutrition and what to eat, when to eat, those things. But I loved the personal relationships I get to build with lifestyle coaching. When I was personal training, people would just kind of come work out with me and then go eat whatever they want. I would see them a couple times a week and I'm like, okay, you're not changing. And then it's like, well, after I worked out with you, I deserve to go get, Starbucks and a bagel and this.
Dang.
It's like, oh,
All that hard work.
It's like, do you understand how much you're burning versus how much you're intaking? So that wasn't really fun for me. And then I was working with athletes too, because I'm an ex-athlete. So I was coaching and I did a lot of that before I had kids. I'm actually just got some offers to do that again. I just moved back to Fort Collins in November. I was in Denver for 10 years. So
Oh, wow. Okay.
just reconnecting with everybody again. So
Is that where you're
Nice.
from originally?
I'm originally from Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
My wife is from Loveland. Grew up in Fort Collins and Loveland. I went to junior college to play basketball in Sterling. So that's how we end up meeting when I came back for, it's a crazy story, but I came back for a host family that we had. Their oldest son got married. He used to steal all of our clothes. So, we all came back to see me and some of my teammates came back to the wedding, and I ended up meeting my wife then.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Okay.
And how long have you guys been together now?
That was, remember we talked about that. So I was 2009.
You're like,
yeah, we
dang
talked
it,
about
what?
the date.
My bad.
I think it was 2009 we met. And then
I'm
I
like,
ended up
ladies, this is not a trick
This is
question
the-
here. Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
right? I was like, you guys got to get this down. Remember the dates. But I ended up moving. We did long distance for like 9 months. And honestly, to keep a long story short, I was like, man, she's a cool person. I'm not moving for her. I had a great thing going on in Minnesota. I was working at a basketball academy teaching kids. A lot of my friends are either pro athletes or overseas at the time. I just got back from overseas, and I was playing with NBA players, Kevin Garnett, Troy Hudson, like one of my good friends, Chris Humphreys. Like we would just work out and play basketball all day teaching kids, getting paid a lot of money. I loved it. So I was like, I'm not leaving that, but she's awesome. So I left. I came here. So take notes as I'm talking to you, man.
Fair enough, right?
Hey.
Good save, but I guess we won't have to edit that out. So.
Right.
Good. No, that was perfect, man. I mean, you're even touching on more things that I didn't even know about you.
Yeah,
so
what?
you're talking about this past life of basketball. Like,
Yeah.
How old are you?
37.
37. Okay.
Yep. I have
younger than that.
Yeah, I get that. Thank you. When the grays are coming in, I think the kids are getting me. But when I shave it, I look younger. So I like, that's how I kind of, the modeling thing lasts for me, because they're like, dude, you can pass for 20 something years old or up until, late 30s, 40s. I'm like, 40s, late 40s? Okay.
You're like, whoa, okay.
We'll see what happens. Yeah. But yeah, the ex-life for basketball, man, I was a Division I athlete, basketball player, played overseas professionally in West Africa, Abidjan.
Nice. Wow.
Ended up blowing my shoulder out and just never really recovered. It was my shooting hand, and I tried, and it just wasn't the same. It was a lot of mental stuff after surgery. So the big thing for me was trying to, as I was kind of telling you guys, figure out my identity, life after basketball, because I was known as an athlete, like won 3 state titles. Just that's all. Met most of my friends from basketball, traveled around the world for basketball, got school paid for from basketball. Had in my mind, I knew, like, if I don't play professionally, I got this degree, I'm gonna get that. And it ended so abruptly that it was kind of like, okay, use the degree, went into corporate America, and I just I didn't find fulfillment. Like I remember sitting at a desk. I was at a admissions counselor for a school, and I remember sitting there and my stomach used to turn. I was like, I can't do this for the next 40 years. Like, this is not life. I worked too hard to say that this is life. And I had money. I had a car. I had a place I would have money to hang out on the weekends. And I was trying to escape by partying on the weekends, doing happy hours, drinking, trying to outwork my bad nutrition. And I was just like, dude, I don't feel like I have a purpose anymore. Like, I'm just out here just kicking it. And I couldn't see the future of it. So once I got introduced to something different, you had a question?
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say, like at what point or at what age did you kind of like realize that?
That was 24, 25. I had went from job to job, and I had some bad. So if you look at it like this, I went from playing basketball my whole life, going to college. College is, as an athlete, you kind of get things taken care of. Like I don't really have to do much, but work on my craft and study. Right.
So to show up, right?
Just show up and just be good at that. Like try to be the best I can and excel. And I'm a hard worker, so I would I was talented, but I wasn't the most talented. I played with plenty of talented players. I was the hardest worker. Like you would have, I don't care who you are, you would have to outwork me every possession. And most people can't do that. So that's where I excelled, and I always started, and I always played for all these teams. Then life happened to where I'm like now trying to figure it out. I'm like, okay, like I went from traveling the world. I was in Africa, I was in France, and I had money that I didn't know what to do with, and I blew a lot of it because I was the only person in my family first to graduate from college, first with this much money. Who was going to tell me how to manage that? Nobody, right? So I made a lot of mistakes. That's why my wife is really good. She's really good with money, and I'm not. But I've become better. But that was kind of the thing, is just like sitting in that, doing so many jobs from Yes, I was doing personal training, group fitness training, coaching. Those are great. Like you said, we talked about adulting. I was like, all right, I got to get a big boy job. I can't just play basketball and just wake up when I want to and have fun with these kids. So I started going to admissions and helping people. I was like, I can help people get into college and they can change their life. I never really I had a coach. I never really had managers and bosses. And I had some pretty bad managers and bosses coming out of playing professionally. And I wasn't used to people talking down to me. I wasn't used to people controlling my time or my money. So it was weird. I was like, okay, basketball, I'm on the court. I'm going to play. My actions are going to allow me to play. So the coach loves me because I just work hard, right? I had people in corporate America, my experience is not everywhere, they didn't want you to outshine them, right? So
It's actually a lot like that. Almost like in a lot of like corporate places, I feel like.
Right.
Because I've experienced that myself too. And sometimes it's just a shame because, you're just trying to go out there, just trying to do your job, trying to do the best that you can. And sometimes, they might stop you from doing that, or
yes,
they might have some sort of reaction to that.
Yeah, insecurities, right? Like, this person, and I mean, I like people. So I'm friendly to everybody. I got great energy when I want to have a great experience, right? So that's what I try to create. And some people were intimidated by that. And I had a guy that just he was intimidated. And he still always like say little things. Oh, the model guy's here. I'm like, come on, man. That has nothing to do with our job. You know what I mean? And he would say these things, but I went through a lot of stuff. Like, long story short, I ended up having a settlement because they were harassing me. And that allowed me to figure out what I wanted to do next. And that's when I came across, as you guys can see, I do Herbalife. That taught me like a way of living or earning an income outside of what I was taught.
Okay.
Because I hated people controlling my time. I hated telling me, like, I just was traveling around the world and my career ended, but my friends still played overseas. So I want to go see all my friends, and they're in Brazil, and they're in Germany, and they're in Russia. They're in Canada. I'm about to go travel. Sorry, you haven't incurred enough time to go travel. I'm like, well, you don't have to pay me. I just want to go, like, time off. Like, I've been working all this time. No, you can't. I was like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, I just didn't understand it because I'd never really worked in corporate America like that. So that was different. And then I was coaching kids, and I'm like, all right, I got a game. I got to go. And it's like, we need you to stay later. I can't. No, you have to. And I'm like, I don't have to do anything. I will leave. But trying to be a good employee, but I was getting harassed at the same time. So it was this, I felt trapped, honestly. And I hate feeling trapped. I hate feeling like I don't have an option. I'm like, okay. And before we were married, my wife was like, I used to tell her, I'm not going back. I'm done. And she was like, okay, I get it, but we have bills and they don't stop and they don't care. So how about you find out what's next? So every time I would look at another job, it was just like, okay, it's the same thing that's going to happen. It's going to be cool for 3 months and then they're going to turn on me. Like, it always happened, right? So I was like, I can't run this rat race anymore. So once I got in the situation when I was able to leave that place, had a little bit of extra money, had some time to figure stuff out, I wasn't really sure about network marketing. I wasn't really sure about Herbalife. And then when you read stuff, you get negative. But I'm a more critical thinker. So I was like, all right, let me dive into it. Let me figure it out. Because I've met people that this is successful with, and I know them. And I don't know these people that it wasn't successful with. Let me figure out what works and what didn't work. And when I find out why people were like not doing well, I'm like, okay, that's
seems manageable.
Yeah, you made some mistakes. Like, if you went to invest and you didn't understand what you were investing in, you lost money. Like, you made a bad investment on the way you built your business. I looked at how I wanted to build my business, and I was like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. But outside of the income, who I was becoming through this opportunity was the best thing for me, because it allowed me to just manifest in other ways.
I love that.
It was teaching me to be a leader. It was teaching me to show up and be independent. It was teaching me how to wake up on time without being motivated by somebody else telling me when to wake up, like being inspired by my own goals. It was teaching me how to work with different type of people. Like I said, I don't want to be a manager, but I love being a mentor. And that was a shift for me, because I don't like managing people. Everybody was trying to hire me for these jobs. I don't want to manage people. I don't even want to work in this corporate environment anymore. But when they was like, well, you don't have a boss. So if you do this, you're your boss. I was like, that sounds intriguing. Okay, that's more of my speed.
Right.
Keep
Like, talking.
Yeah, keep telling me more. What else? What else? And they were just telling me, well, you have to work on yourself in order to inspire others. Okay, I've always been a leader. That's how I became a captain. I will go out on the court and then show it. I won't tell you what to do. I'm going to go do it. So follow my lead. I can do that. So some of the things that I've already had were going to help me. And then some of the things that I would learn, I was around people that were better than me, and I loved that. I was in rooms with people that were speaking differently and reading. Like I posted about these books. I was like, they're talking about books. I never read a book outside of college that they told me I had to read. I just was like, all right, I'll read it because I have to pass this class, but skim through it to pass. But now I get to read to grow. And that was exciting because it was new for me. So I'm like reading so many books. What else you got? And I'm inspired by these other leaders. Like, dude, you're living the life I want to live. I want to take advice from you. I keep getting advice from these people that are not even living the lives they want to live. Why would I listen to them? So I'm inspired by these people, and that's who I wanted to hang around. And it felt like a team again. Now I'm like, oh man, I'm around. Look at, she's dope. Like the way she speaks, I'm gonna learn from her. Like I was learning from these people. I was like, man, he speaks. He makes everything so simple. I want to learn from him because I feel like I complicate stuff all the time. So in order for me to make it make sense, like, okay, well, it has to be complicated for me to be successful at it because everybody would do it. No, it's actually very simple. And that's why most people don't do it because they think it needs to be more difficult. So I was inspired by all these people that were pouring into me. Like we talked about, they weren't intimidated about my success or who I was. They were like, your success brings me success. I want to see you shine. Pass me if you can. And I get to do that for other people. I get to meet people that are better than me that I get to learn from. And they feel like they're learning from me. I'm learning from them. Like I met some of the most powerful people that like, Zerek, you speak so well. You motivate me so much. And then they'll sit down and tell me their story. You think I'm strong? You're the strongest person I've ever met. Like some of these people that I've met, I'm inspired by, and they think that I inspired them. And I'm like, yo, you lost a son and you still showed up.
Wow.
And you still give to people. I don't know if I get goosebumps thinking about that stuff. I don't know if you guys can see them.
That's powerful.
I don't know if I have that in me. I love my kids so much. If I don't know if I could continue to show up the way they did if one of my kids were gone.
Yeah.
So these people give me this different strength and a different mindset of what strength looks like, what power looks like. And I'm like, okay, I aspire to be like you guys. You guys are around me so I can continue to learn from you. I know I keep talking so you guys can.
No, that's absolutely amazing. Like I love that.
Yeah, there's so many gems in there.
And you know what though? Like I feel like that's something that everybody faces.
Yeah.
Everybody has like those type of challenges. And even if you are like, working that corporate America and trying to start your own business or trying to do something for yourself because you realize these things that, you know what, this is not enough. Like you want more out of yourself or that you are capable of doing more for yourself. So what were some kind of like challenges mentally that you faced and that you were able to overcome to kind of actually like make that happen, make that transition for yourself?
I would say the biggest is the unknown because although I have met new people in my life that were successful with it, I didn't really know them. And then you always start to think, well, of course they did it because they're already at the success. You didn't see the grind. You don't know their true story. So it's like, of course he made it. Look at him. Look at the, no. So you start making up these stories and doubting because you don't know exactly where to start.
Yeah.
You just got to start, right? So I would say the biggest challenge too is your support. So my wife's in corporate America and I don't speak about corporate America to make anybody feel bad that they're in corporate America. I grew up with parents that gave me a great life because of their corporate jobs, right? Like, even though they made their sacrifices and they may not have liked it, they did it, and I was able to live a lifestyle. So I don't take anything away from that. I always tell people, if you are in a corporate America setting and you want to venture out, it doesn't mean you have to quit your job. Like, so many people think they have to. I had a very unique situation when I was able to have some money, and that's a funny story, because I didn't know how to work. I thought, oh man, as soon as I get out this job, man, I'm about to crush this. I'm gonna have so much time. I literally didn't know. I'm like, everybody I know is at work. What am I supposed to do? I would work for 2 hours and play video games. I would go to the gym for 2 hours, work for 2 hours. I'm like, all right, I sent out a couple messages. I talked to everybody I know. I post a couple things on social media. I'm good. That's a good day's work. I'm an entrepreneur. Then when I realized, like, entrepreneurs just could be 24/7. You can work all the time. You don't have a boss, but your clients are your boss. You know, your goals are your boss. Whatever you aspire to be, that's your boss. You're gonna have to work hard enough to get to that. So I didn't know I didn't know what I was doing. Like, the money that I had from the money that I had from the settlement, I blew through that. And after a year, I remember it. So I posted a book, Outwitting the Devil, right? And then if you're reading comments, a lot of people have read that book. And it's not even like, people think it's super religious. It's not about that. It's really about a lot of things, about just the society we grow up in, the way we go through school and the way we learn, the way we set goals, all these different things, right? So I spent all the money, and my wife didn't know. She wasn't my wife at the time, but now wife, she didn't. We had separate accounts at this time. She didn't know what my money. As long as the bills were paid, I'll pay my half of the bills. Don't worry about it. I'm buying all the Nike. I love Nike, Joe. Like that. So I got to shopping the shoes. I'm kicking it. I'm traveling. She's like, all right, well, he obviously got the money. He's paying the rent. I remember it came, and we were doing this thing we called a fit camp. So we would throw a free workout at the park, and we would like buy like throwing dodgeball and different things that people can use and like stuff for kids to play with. And I remember the guy that he was a coworker, a partner of mine, business partner. He took some stuff to Greeley, and this is while we were in Denver, and he let his brother use it. And then he didn't come back in town, and I had to run the fit camp, but we didn't have anything. I had $235 left in my account. That's not enough to pay my bills. And I remember like, oh my God, what am I going to tell my wife? She's going to flip. And so I read the book, and it tells me about your other self, and you have to trust this other self that's going to lead you towards where you need to go. Don't think about the fear you have. Don't think about the doubt you have. This other self is going to lead you. So in my mind, I'm reading the book. I'm like, okay, my other self is saying, take this $235, go to Sports Authority, buy the stuff you need, do the fit camp, show love, because these people are showing up to get this energy. So you got to do it. Spend the last money. I come back, and I'm freaking out. I'm in the car with all the stuff in the back. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to go in here and tell her I don't have it. We'll deal with whatever happens after that. And my wife, she's very intimidating. Like she's very, so she doesn't really go for that. So I'm like, all right, whatever, we'll work through it, whatever. And as I go in there, I check the mail. And then in the story, this guy takes this trip with $50. He had no money. His brother gave him $50 to go meet somebody about selling books, right? He didn't have any money. So he went to a very fancy hotel. This is like back in the 1800s, so it didn't cost a lot. He had $50, went a long way. And he ended up meeting a person that he knew at a previous job that was like, I heard you were doing books. I got somebody that wants to buy it. And this guy just purchased all this books, so he had money to keep his thing going. I come back, and I check the mail. I see a check from my modeling agency, and it was a Toyota commercial I did a while back.
Oh, nice.
They bought it out again and paid me. So I look, and I'm like, oh, okay. I'm listening to that other self. You got me. And I never doubted it again.
Wow.
I've kind of always operated in that space of like, okay, there's going to be some highs and lows. There's going to be some scary moments. There's going to be some times where you're either broke or not. You always have to maintain where you're going, no matter what. Don't let anybody see it. So nobody will really know what I'm going through in life, whether it's tough or not, because I've already decided how I'm going to show up, right? So everybody thinks my life is just the best because I smile every day. I post a picture of me smiling every day. I'm like, you guys have no idea what's going on in my life, but you don't have to. My job is to try to inspire some type of inspiration, knowledge, or something for you. You don't care about what's going on in my life. It doesn't help you sharing my struggles unless I've found a way to overcome them. Now I'll share that part. Like, yo, you guys didn't know I was going through this. This is what happened. This is how I figured it out. Because that's going to help you get through yours. But me just complaining every day doesn't help you get to yours, especially if I'm the guy you're coming to for the happiness or the inspiration. So those are things I learned. But to answer your question, it was a lot of things like that. Money was low, doubt, not knowing how to actually operate within a business, friends and family not supporting me because I thought they were going to support me. I was the athlete. Everybody's like, man, you made it, man. You went overseas. You're balling out. Everybody wanted to come to the clubs with me. Everybody wanted to be around me. But then I was like, hey, man, I'm starting this new business, man. I found when I played basketball, only I can make the money. None of my friends can make the money. I would have to give them money. And I'm like, I'm not giving people money. Like that's not how I operate because I understand that's how our friendship will, because you're not going to be able to repay me. And you won't be able to grow if I'm just giving you money, right? So now I found the opportunity. I can put all my friends. I don't care if you got a bad criminal record. I don't care if you have educational level. I will teach you. You can learn. I found a way to make my family healthy. I found a way to get my friends healthy, fit. All the ex-athlete friends that I had don't look like they ever played basketball. Man, I got you guys. Don't worry. No matter where you're at, I'm in over 90 different countries. I can help whoever. I'm super excited about it when I'm starting off. Nobody wanted to do it. Family didn't want to do it. Best friends didn't want to do it. A couple people did. Now that if anybody watches it, like you know who you are if you did it. Yeah. But there was a lot of people that didn't, and that hurt because I've never felt that before. Like I've always had, like if I say like, yo, let's turn up, man. We going out tonight. Everybody's showing up. But when I'm like, I actually got a way that you guys, we're gonna change we're gonna change generational wealth. We're gonna change generational habits. We're gonna break all the generational curse. I found a way. I'm growing as a person. You guys see me. Look at me. I'm healthy. I'm happy. This can be for everybody. I can actually teach you how to do this. I have the steps. And crickets. No responses. Y'all do it. Nothing. Or I even hear that they're making jokes about it. What other friends like, yeah, they were clowning you, talking about you think you're Mr. Healthy or Mr. Motivator. I'm like, wow. So it was lonely. Even though, and I had to learn that I had another group of friends that supported me, that I found I had another group of people that weren't that close to me, but were pouring into me, and that was scary. I was like, what's the con? There's no way you can be this invested in my success without knowing me like that. And I promise you, here, $4,000 that you owe us, I swear that was coming. So I was bracing myself, and it never happened. They were just like, how can people, when I started to be around people that I knew I couldn't even affect their business, that's when I was like, okay, this is special. Because no matter what I do, they don't make money off of what I do. And they're like really interested in like what they can do to help me. But when the person that was a part of like that got me introduced to it, I'm like, of course you want me to do it because you want to make more money. Like that's how I thought with that negative mindset until it was all about growth. I was like, man, if he does make money off me, why shouldn't he? Look how much he's impacted my life. He deserves that. I hope that you can get that, man. I wish you the best success. I'm going to help support you. But the way people poured into me, I've been able to pour into other people.
It's like true value.
True value. And I never experienced that because we talked about like in corporate America, I didn't feel that. People didn't want me to get the raise if they didn't get the raise. People didn't want me to go do too well in my job because now they're managing me, and what if I do better than them, and like what's next for them? The only time they ever wanted me to move up is when they knew they had a new position coming. Like, oh, I got a promotion. Like now you can come up. But before then, they harassed me and talked about me and made work hell for me. Like I don't know if you guys ever been there, but like you have been. I have sitting in the car.
Been there, done that.
Like if you hear somebody's voice, you're just like skin crawling, like, oh, this is gonna be the day. I'm gonna get fired.
You made it to the car. It's the alarm.
The alarm, yeah. I used to be late to work because I'll be sitting there like, man, and I'm a happy person, but I knew like I wasn't happy around my wife. She knew like when it was the weekend, I was kind of okay because I don't have to go to work in the morning. Sunday night, attitude starts to change. Blood pressure starting to rise. Man, the drive there, I come back after work, just not myself, angry, depressed. I was trying to party to get away from it. And I was like, that's not life. Why am I trying to escape? The most time I'm spending is in this job. Like, I can't do this. So I remember, I don't know if you guys heard of Les Brown. He's a motivational speaker. And he said something that I did. And I didn't listen to him before I did it, but it was funny. I did it. And when I listened to it, I was like, and I only heard it like maybe last month. So when he said it, I started laughing. I was like, I did that. He was like, you're driving in your car. And I used to drive past my job just to see what it felt like to not go there. I did that. I remember I missed the exit. And I looked at it. I was just like, I ain't going. But I had to go back to work. But it just felt like this release. Like, what if I didn't work there? What if I didn't have to talk to them? And it felt good. So it's like, I always was searching for a way out. And I couldn't figure it out until it kind of landed in my lap. And I was just like, this is your opportunity. Go. And I went for it. Never looked back. It's been 8 years.
Wow.
Dang.
That is truly inspiring.
So many things in there, dude. I can't even.
It's hard, right? I got to stop so I can get you guys a chance to digest it.
This is amazing.
Honestly, I feel like this is going to be something that everybody can relate to. I feel like I'm relating to so many things that you're going over. And even when we were talking before we even started, you were talking about like, why did we start this? I feel like I'm in that age range that you're talking about. You know, I feel like I'm in a moment of my life where I'm just trying to figure things out, and it feels like, you know, like I'm working this job and it's like, well, like this job's done good things for me. Like it feels like I'm in a good position, but it's like I don't want to do this forever. Like this isn't making me happy. Like it's really just a job, but it shouldn't just be a job. Like, am I wasting my time? Like I need to get out. Like I need to figure things out. And it's like, then what do I do? It's like, okay, well then like, let's talk to people that are doing the things that we're trying to figure out how they're getting there, you know? And it's like literally the reason why we started this.
That's perfect. That's
so
awesome, man.
You called it even a rat race. I call it the rat race because it makes me mad.
It's infuriating without seeing a way out of it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. We're definitely going to beep this out, but I call it because I feel like a slave. I feel like a slave.
We kind of are. Like you have the opportunity to leave.
Right.
But to what?
Exactly.
You still have bills. You still have to eat.
exactly.
You still have to survive. So they kind of know that they got you. And so this is my thing. How come I was never taught what I know now? How come school didn't teach me that?
Yes.
How come? I guess my parents couldn't because they didn't know either, right? I read something, I think it was Rockefeller, and it was a quote. I don't know if it's real or not. But when I read it, it was saying that they have the school system set up the way it is because they want workers.
Yep.
They don't want entrepreneurs. They don't want people out there building their own jobs, even though it's better for the economy. We can employ more people. It's,
Right.
Creating the best blue collar citizens.
Exactly. But think about what we're taught. The first moment you go into school, you sit in a desk.
Yep.
You listen to somebody tell you what you need to learn. They don't tell you how to learn. They tell you what you need to remember. So what most people do, we don't have the skill set when we leave to figure it out ourselves. We don't learn. We don't have critical thinking ability.
What did you? Sorry to cut you off. What did you go to college for?
So, thought I was gonna make it to the NBA, although I played overseas. But my backup was like healthy human performance.
Okay.
And I was gonna go also to be a sports agent because I said, okay, I know way too many guys that are playing basketball and football. I'm pretty smart. I'll manage their money. I don't know if you guys ever seen a movie called He Got Game, but I was seeing it. It's an old movie, but it's about this basketball player that made it. But I was looking at the sports agents, and they were like having all the watches and giving the money. I'm like, they're rich. Let me handle their money. Let me be a sports agent for them. And then when I was going through school, they was like, yeah, you're going to have to do a little bit of law school. I was like, whoa, I got to do law school? I don't want to do any extra school, man. So that's when it was like, all right, healthy human performance. I loved work. I've been working out since like 8th grade. And I seen how it made me feel, not just how it made me look and perform. I was like, I feel good after I work out. So that's cool. I'll do that. So healthy human performance and sports management. Excuse me. But then when I got, this is what I thought about. I was the first person to go to college and graduate. I thought after you graduate, all the jobs were going to call you. Like, hey, we heard that you graduated. We see what you've done. You got great grades. You're a great person. We would love for you to come work for us. I didn't know I had to actually go like apply to all these jobs, and now they have to accept me into their job, and now I have to work for them. And that's how much I knew. I had no idea. I wasn't prepared for it. And luckily I had the opportunity to go play overseas right away after college. That gave me some space to make some money, travel the world, but it didn't prepare me for corporate America. So it was a rude awakening once I actually had to step foot into that every day, like you said.
And that's what I'm trying to get to. It's like, how did you figure this out, man? Like, what is this coming to? Because I feel like that's the problem. Well, sorry, maybe I shouldn't call it a problem.
That's your challenge?
But I feel like you see this everywhere. Some people will get stuck in this trap, this rat race for the rest of their life. Some people don't even realize that it's a rat race.
Yeah.
Some people realize it really early on. And depending on where you catch it, I mean, time is definitely an enemy for sure.
Yeah. It's always against you, but it will always be against you whether you do it or not. Like, so when I remember sitting down, and life experiences happened to me, right? I seen one guy went down a wrong direction with, he did some illegal stuff. Like he went to jail for like cocaine or something. I didn't know him, but this is me working at the admission school. I'm excited to help this guy get into school. He went in there, turned his life around. He did like 30 years, most of his life. He was young. He was probably like 18 when he went to jail. 30 years for some cocaine, whatever, however it was.
Wow.
Jesus.
Yeah.
And he comes out positive, like, look, I went in there, I got my barber's license. I actually been working out. I got fit. I'm going to change my life, man. I'm excited. So I'm ready to start school. We had a personal training program at this school. And then I didn't understand financial aid at that moment. It was just done for me. I got a scholarship, play basketball. Didn't think about it. So I'm excited. I'm like, man, I get to really do something. This is why I do this job. I don't care what they do to me. I'm about to help this man. Went in a financial aid office. They was like, he has a felony. We can't give him financial aid. I was like, so the person that's trying to, jail is supposed to rehabilitate you, right? It's supposed to change you, right?
Yeah.
You're supposed to go to jail, learn your lesson, and come out a better person. And there's no opportunity for him.
Right.
I didn't know that you couldn't get financial aid
if you have a felony. So I'm like, my stomach turned. I was like, I have to go look this dude in his face and tell him I can't help him. What's his other option? What's his option? If he can't get a degree, he didn't get a high school diploma. What job is he going to get? He's going to go back to what he was doing to make money. So I was like, that's a trap. That is a trap. Like, I can't help this guy. So that was a horrible experience. And then another lady came in that was, I think she was 60, and she was smart. And she was like, look, she was older. She was like, I moved up as a secretary into this business. I was doing well. I got a husband. We got married. We had kids. I stopped working. I was a mother. She was like, for the last 20-some years, I was a mother. 30 years, whatever it was.
I know. Where you?
He left me, went for a younger woman.
Oh.
I don't have any work experience. I have to go back to school and start over. I was like, that's tough. And I'm like, man, and she's looking at how much it's going to cost her along with her kids in school. And she just broke down and cried. So those little things, I was like, I got to make a decision. This ain't it. I'm not making the difference I want. I'm not happy. I want to be happy. How do I make myself happy? So it was a lot of experience, and I'm just an observer. So I kind of look at like, okay, what's the future hold? What's happening around me? Who's happy? Who's not? Those things. And I was like, okay, I can't do this. And this happened. They brought me into the office, and they were like, and I had to answer this honestly as I possibly could. They were like, all right, Zarek, you've been with us for over a year now. We want to see, what do you see yourself in the next 5 years? And I remember looking at my manager who's asking me this question, her job, and how stressed out she was and how much she hated it. I was like, well, I don't want your position. Then I seen the person above her, that he was the guy that was pretty much harassing me. And I was like, I don't want your position. And I was like, honestly, I don't know. I was like, I don't want your job. I don't want his job. I kind of just want to make more money and not do all the extra. I was like, you do way more work and you don't get paid the amount for the stress that you have in your life. I don't want that. I want to be a happy person. So I couldn't even lie. I couldn't even conjure it up in my body to say, well, I know what I should have said, right? I could have put on my professional, well, I would like to move up in the corporate ladder and be whatever. I couldn't. I was like, I'm not going to lie. I can't take this. I don't even want to be here. But I have bills. And this is where I'm at now.
And that's so crazy because I feel like there's a lot of moments, like at least in my experience, where I want to express things like that. But then like, it's almost that fear of just like, oh, you don't want this job? Okay, then go ahead and pack up your things and go.
Because we're replaceable. But they made us replaceable. They gave us a job that we can be replaced. So that's one of the things too. So when I started onto this entrepreneurship, people were like, oh, well, there's no job security. I was like, is there anything like job security? Because everybody that I know gets laid off, especially during the winter comes. I was like, you're a telemarketer. Like, I seen a lady that was a bank teller, and I walked in and she was super awesome. We got to know each other. She always helped me, and I was like, man, I'm gonna help her. So she became a client. I was helping her lose weight and helping her like get her mindset. She was a single mom, just all this stuff. And I remember walking into her job, and I seen this was years ago, right? The automatic service that did everything she did. Now I was like, so you look at this every day and don't think to yourself that I might get replaced. Like, this machine does everything that I do. And people were like, oh, it's great. Like, it's fast.
That's a whole nother thing right there.
It's awesome. Like, it's so fast and it helps us. And I'm like, they're practicing to replace you. And what did they do? They took 4 of the tellers to 2 tellers and replaced 2 people with the machines.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, she'd never seen it coming. Like, she'd never seen it. But for me, I was like, okay, what can I do that needs a personal touch? You can go to an app, you can go to a seminar, but unless you have a life coach that's there, that's going to be not only a friend, build a relationship with you, but that's growing with you, you can't, I don't feel like I can be replaced because I'm constantly working on myself. I'm constantly learning things, and I'm building relationships with people, so they want to keep that. that's where I feel like, okay, I got a niche to where you're not going to replace me. You need a human element, and I'm bringing that to the table. So I kind of found that niche for myself. I didn't want to be replaced, but like you were saying, people, they give us that fear of not sticking up for our goals or ourselves, or because you're going to lose your job. Then what?
It's the risk.
It's the risk. Then what? That's why I always tell people, like, have a backup. Because I have people and that was one thing I learned too. There was a business partner of mine, good friend of mine, and her story is similar. She inspires me with that story because she was the person that moved up corporate America super fast. And she's a dope person. Remember when I was like, that girl's awesome. She's that girl. Like, I'm like, yo, she's dope. Like, she's awesome. She moved up corporate America really fast, was making six figures, had the money, all that. She got into our business just because she was like, I'm an ex-athlete and I'm working out, I'm eating right. I'm not seeing the results. She started on our program, got crazy results, but she never wanted to do the business because she was like, I'm paid, bro. Like, I'm overseeing people. I'm good. But then she said she seen that she was trying she had all these other businesses that she was trying to start on the side that wasn't really taking off. Then she seen the infrastructure that was in this business. She was like, damn, I remember paying $5,000 to even get certified to do this, and then paying another $5,000 to have this type of in my name. And she was doing all this stuff, and she was like, this is not all that. This can't even be a real thing because it doesn't cost enough. And then she was seeing like people's checks. And she was like, okay, they're actually making money doing this. And they're doing what I wanted to do. They're helping people on a level I wasn't. So, okay, I just want to help people. And then when she got amazing results, she just told everybody, right? It just naturally happened.
She's
Like, yo,
like,
you got to
look.
come. Look at me. You got to come check out this space. You got to come check out these people. Like, you got to come. And then she was like, why am I not doing this? So she did it part-time. She still had her job. She was making money, right? She didn't hate her job. She just was not doing what she was passionate about. So I think it was 3 years. She was building part-time income, saving it up because she was like, I got money. I'm just going to save this, whatever. Taking some trips. They brought her into the office and said, we're about to let some people go. You may be one or you may not be one. We want to keep you, but all the people that moved up in her position was making a lot of money. And they were like, well, you got to cut that position out. We can hire some people to do that job for way cheaper. And then she had enough confidence and vision in herself to see where she wanted to do and where she was currently at. She was like, I don't want somebody that has because she's single, she doesn't have a family. She was like, I don't want somebody that has a family to get fired. So I'm going to step away. And she took the leap. But she had already had like $35,000 saved up in savings.
Wow. Yeah.
And then she was making at that time $5,000 a month. She was like, I pretty much am close to making that income anyway. If I just go full time, I'll make it. And she never looked back.
Wow.
And she was like, but what if I would have said no and I didn't have that money set up? She was like, I would have got fired. I wouldn't have had a job lined up. I would have had to start back somewhere for a lower amount of money when I had a lifestyle that was here. And then she was like, that's what people don't think about. That's what they think that they have job security. Usually you don't have job security. I did everything they asked. I exceeded their expectations and they still were willing to let me go. And that's when I was like, all right, cool. Like I just felt like the people that I was around got me. Because the people that weren't interested in taking that risk or taking that leap didn't get me, and they were still in fear mode. And it wasn't pulling me towards me, but it was in me. Like it was a thought process. It was always in the back of my mind. I'm like, oh man, what if I don't make it? Whew, this is gonna be. Everybody's gonna laugh at me. Everybody's gonna told you so. Like I hated having those feelings and those thoughts. So I started to spend more time with those people that were like, I'm gonna make it no matter what. And then I started to see the sacrifices they made, and I started to hear the heart like, yo, this ain't easy. I don't care who tells you it's easy. You're going to have to go through stuff. So you can drag it out for 10 years and go through it, or you can drag it out in 2 years. I don't care. You're going to go through a whole bunch of stuff, but you're going to have to develop your mindset and learn these philosophies and set up the structure so that you can continue to move forward. Because it's going to happen to you no matter what. Life's going to happen to you no matter what. You're going to lose people. You're going to have deaths. You're going to have money. You're going to lose money. All that stuff's going to happen to you whether you do this or not. But does this make you a better person? Does this give the fulfillment that you were looking for? And I was like, yep. So why would you not? So that's when I was like, okay, I don't have to just people think entrepreneurship, you just got to go all in on this and throw everything away. No, I learned other ways. It's like, oh, dude, you can be acting and modeling. How can you wrap this around everything that you love? And I was like, I never looked at it that way. I do like acting and modeling. That's income. Cool. That's fun. I'll meet people. I'll be able to help them. What else can I do? All right. I like training, group fitness training. Cool. All right. Yeah, I can help a lot of people. And actually, they're bringing people to me. So I just started to find the things that I love, and I'm doing it. And I remember when I first walked out of it, and I walked past. I was going to the mall. I was just working at the mall before kids and everything. I'm like, oh, I like to work at the mall. I love watching people. This is my office. This is dope. I'm doing Instagram pictures. Look at me, guys. I'm working at the mall. And I remember walking by, and I was like, man, those are kind of like jail cells. Like, they can't leave. Like, you can't leave. Like, that hit me. I was like, what if somebody was like, okay, how much money do you make? I make $75,000 a year. Okay, would you go sit in this jail cell for $75,000 a year for 10 hours a day? No. That's what I saw it is. But I was like, I love freedom. I love to be able to just say yes or no to something. Like, my modeling agent kids to me, I'm like, nah, I'm okay. I didn't have to chase the money anymore because I found out how to attract it. And then I also defined what success was for myself. Because when I first started, I was like, I got to make it to the top 1% and make $20,000 a month. But I was like, okay, but what would I do with $20,000 a month? Now, I'm not saying I won't take the money. I'll take the money. But it wasn't that I had to do things outside of myself to get there. Does that make sense? Like, I've seen people do things to make a lot of money and they still ended up unhappy. So when I've truly found what happiness was for me and defined, like, okay, what does financial freedom look like for me? Not for them. I don't have to have the Lexus. That just never was my thing. Because I've had, like I said, I played overseas. I made a lot of money. And I remember feeling empty. I was like, man, I worked so hard to get here. Even basketball gave me that feeling. Because I couldn't help anybody. People were asking me for money and I hated it. I didn't want to pick up my phone sometimes. I'm over in another country for the first time and I didn't even want to talk to some people. Like, man, they're going to tell me about their problems because they see I'm making money. Like, that was, so when I got injured, it was almost a relief. Like, oh, I don't have that pressure. But what's next? So it was a scary feeling, but at the same time, I was like, okay, that was weird. So when I define like success for me, I can confidently move in the way I wanted to. Like, nobody can pressure me. Like, I had people, even within the business I'm in now, it was like, this person made $15,000 last month and they did this. And I was like, good for them. But if I did that, and that, I would be back to unhappy. So even if you gave me the $15,000, I would hate it. I would hate what I was doing, just like when I was in the other job. So I'm not doing it. But if you don't know what you want, you're going to just go do it and be unhappy again. You're just going to, $15,000. And you're going to get back into this race. You're going to burn yourself out. And like, this was supposed to be happy for me. This was supposed to be fun for me. Why does it feel like this?
So they're comfortable.
Yeah.
It's called comfort.
It's comfort. But I found like, okay, I know how to get out of my comfort zone because I know comfort zone also can be lazy and you lose your ambition. So I kind of learned, I had to study myself. I'm rebellious. And I've always been. And my daughter, oh my God, you didn't get to meet my kids. If Jenny from the block would have met my kids, she would have seen my daughter. She's too, but I see her in me, right? She's a rebel. I learned that there's certain things that I can't do. But I've tried them all. I've done the vision boards, accountability groups, but I was like, man, I rebel against it. Even though I want to do it, I rebel against a lot of stuff. Even if I set it up, I set it up, but I was like, I don't really want to do this. That's too much of a commitment that I don't want to do those things. God. But I found another way for me. I found another way to set my goals. I found another way to time block. I knew the goal of where I wanted to go, but I didn't necessarily have to take the route that all these people that were successful before me, they were successful, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's the only way to get there. So a lot of people don't have the thought process to slow down and not just go, right? Like, because in the beginning, I was just going, all right, I'm doing whatever they tell me to do. He's successful, I'm going to do it. And I grew a lot as a person, but I also learned like, dang, that didn't make me happy. That was whack. I would quit if I have to do that forever. Like, you know what I mean? But I was like, but I really love this. How do I get back to purpose and passion? How do I get back to that? I studied. I looked up like, okay, what are different ways? One of the most dopest books. So it's amazing how you manifest things, right? The more books you read, the more your mind changes, right?
Yes, 100%.
And the way that I started to think, I don't know how I'm going to do all these things, right? I didn't know how I was going to get to these levels in my life. I didn't know. I just knew I wanted it. And I remember just how so much. My mind's racing because there's so many examples going on in my mind because something just happened last night that I was like, oh my God, like how does this work? But I was thinking about like, man, this book, and I was struggling with being around all these people, but not feeling like I learned the way that they learned or thought the way that they thought. And it was disheartening because I love them and I love being around them. But when they got excited about something, I kind of was like, that's not really what I want, guys. So I was like, am I in the right space anymore? Like, what happened? This guy that created a product with our company, our company is huge. And he follows a lot of people follow him. He followed me. I don't know why. He followed me. I never had met him face to face. For some reason, he just followed me. And I posted something similar. This was maybe 4 years ago. I posted something similar about books that I was reading. And he was like, man, you should try this book. It's a game changer. And I'm like, John Heist just like reached out. He DM'd me. Like I was in like shock because he created these products that I took that changed my body. Like he's a scientist that made this that literally have changed my body and the way I feel, the way I look. That's dope to me that he's talking to me. Right. Like, have you ever met somebody that made something that you ingest that? No, right? Like that alone was dope. I was like, that's dope. So I'm gonna read the book. I read the book and it's called, oh man, I just posted it. What is it? The Power of the Extraordinary Mind, I believe. Okay. And it literally just takes different perspectives on how to approach and ask questions like, why does that happen? Like, why do you, I guess the guy, he had a situation where he's like, I grew up religious in my family household. McDonald's moved to our country. He's like, we didn't eat meat. I wanted to eat meat. He's like, I want to try it. He's like, just because McDonald's was in a commercial. And I asked my mom, like, Mom, I want to eat it. She was like, no, we don't do that. And he was like, why? He's like, my mom wasn't able to answer the question of why we don't eat meat. She was like, we just don't. And he was like, from that moment, and she was like, he's like, but I want to. She was like, okay, well, if you can show me a reason why, then cool. And he, as a kid, researched and said, the reason why we don't eat meat is because these animals were considered a part of the family, so we didn't eat them. That's where it started. It wasn't this religious belief. And she was like, oh, I didn't know that. So go ahead and eat it. He said, I've been to the burger. It was disgusting. I never ate it again. He's like, but that lesson taught me to question everything. Like, why? Why are we this way? Why does my parents do this? Why is this recipe passed down? Why is bread shaped this way? Oh, because that's the way the oven was shaped and that's the way it grew. It wasn't like this was the design for any specific reason. So once I started to like look, it's a lot in there. I just gave you an example. It's like just a different mindset. And he has this thing called Mind Valley too. It's a program that he does, but he always takes a different approach, and I love it. And that book started to open my mind. So when that came at the right time because I was getting frustrated with some of the things that we would read as a group, and I was like, I get it. It was some good stuff, but that doesn't resonate with me. This book resonated with me, and it was because I asked the question, what else is out there? What else can I read? Because this is not the path I want to go on. It came. Example last night. And if you guys want me to share it, you can change it if you want me to. No. You want the example? Yeah. Last night, I had a client 4 years ago. They were here. We moved from Fort Collins. I actually played against him in college, and he ended up playing at CSU. But we reconnected through like Facebook. He just kind of seen what I was doing. A lot of my friends reach out from like, dude, you look happy, you look fit. What are you doing? Yo, this is what I'm doing. All right. So he reached out, and they're married now, and they have a kid, which is awesome. This is a long time ago. He reaches out, and he's like, yo, I want to get down. I need to make some changes. But all these things were happening to where we weren't getting on calls. We were missing each other. And the one time he was getting frustrated, I was getting frustrated because I was like, okay, man, he ain't serious. And then he probably thought the same thing about me, right? He's not serious. They were driving to the mountains. He was talking. He's like, my phone might go out. His phone went out. I never talked to him again. I don't remember what happened after that. Maybe we just got enough of just phone tag. Just stopped talking to him. His wife emailed me a month ago. Hey, Zerek, I don't know if you remember me. And I'm like, that's my old email account too. I don't even use the email anymore. It just popped up. She was like, but this is Heather. I don't know if I should be saying their names, but she's like, I reached out and she's like, and I'm interested in getting back in. I don't know if my husband is, but I need to make some changes. And I'm like, I got you. She got started. I'm helping her. I got on a call with him. And I'm like, I don't remember what happened. So I'm like, I don't know what happened, but it doesn't matter because you're here now. Let's chop it up. So we're laughing. And I'm telling him like, dude, I just moved back. He's like, oh, you're in Fort Collins? I'm like, yeah. He was like, that's dope, man. I'm just down the road. I got his address. I'm like, yo, we're not far. I got a daughter. I was like, you got a daughter? How old is she? 4. I was like, man, mine just turned 5.
What?
Like, we got to connect. Like, it's all these things, right? And I was like, man, I'm really trying to create something in the community. I just don't know what yet because COVID kind of messed everything up. And I had this fit camp was working. I had this gym going. And now I'm just kind of like, what's the next step? And then his wife mumbles, and I keep there on speakerphone, and she mumbles, she's like, what about where you got here? And I'm like, what? I was like, you good? Any questions? And he was like, no, Heather just said, well, I'm at a gym now, man. And it's pretty cool. It's in Windsor. It's basketball court. There's a field, like 70 yards for soccer. I got the keys. You might want to come look at it, man. I don't know. Maybe you can do it there. I'm like, I just Googled this 2 days ago.
What?
Where can I rent space? And I couldn't find anything.
Oh, no.
And then he pops up and like, man, I got the keys. Come check it out, bro.
Wow.
And I'm like,
that's like true manifestation right there.
It's like if you keep searching and you want it bad enough, you don't give up. It's going to come. I don't know how. I don't know when. But you just can't say, oh, it's just not going to work. And that's kind of been my thing. So people are like, you're lucky. I was like, I just don't give up. And this, I think that's an Albert Einstein quote.
Probably.
He's like, I'm not the smartest, man. I just don't give up. Something like that. Yeah.
No, that's perfect, man. It's like the perfect example or examples of when opportunity meets preparation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you're just staying ready, man.
I
Or you're
stay.
just, but that's cool, man, because you literally you found your passions. You found what you liked. You started there, and then you just started building off of that, which is like perfect because, I mean, I hate my job, man. You know, like, because it's a job.
I feel you.
But see, I think that's like finding that moment where it's like transitioning or realizing that's like, okay, you want something more out of yourself, right? I think like for us, it was like COVID. COVID was the true like
wake up
realization. It's like, oh my gosh, everybody here can be laid off.
Yes.
And now what? You're just unemployed. You're going to be collecting a check from the government. Who knows, right?
And that's not what you want. You don't want to be dependent on that, just like you were dependent on a job. I get it.
And so I guess just overall, I mean, it just really sounds like you're always busy and just kind of transitioning over to full-time, you know, leaving your job and then doing that kind of full-time, like becoming a fitness trainer and stuff like that. I mean, how do you find the time to be like self-disciplined, and how do you like apply that?
Tools, learning. I do a lot of seminars. I watch a lot of stuff, and you have to kind of figure out. So I learned about time blocking. I've recently, and I wish I written it down, recently just found something from the guy I told you the book. He interviewed somebody, and I was kind of struggling with that. Even though, again, I think the biggest part would be, before I even get to that, is defining what it looks like for you, right? Because full-time, part-time, I try to look outside of the scopes that we've been conformed to, right? So, for instance, you said, can't remember the first question, but you were talking about like, how do you get started? Like, I hate my job. What's next? What do I do?
Right.
If you don't like kind of like look, what people would normally do is like, all right, I do this to strangers all the time. Like, what do you want to become? What do you want to be? And they're like, what? Nobody asked me that question. I just love it because nobody talks like that. And then people say, well, I want to be a veterinarian. I was like, okay, why are you working here? Like, how are you in alignment with that right now? And they're like, well, I got to go back to school, but I'm taking some breaks from school right now and I just hear all these things that they're creating right now. I was like, I'm not judging you. I asked you because it doesn't seem like you're clear with your intentions and what you want to do because you're not actively doing it. So you have to first get clear and design it. But it's hard to figure it out if you only look in the scope of when you go to school, right? They only give you, these are degrees. This is what you can do. And now you're going to pick one. When you go to school, what happens when you first go to school? All right, you guys in college or out of college, graduate now?
No, actually, that's actually one thing that I've never experienced. I've just graduated high school and stuff like that, and right away went into the whole corporate America and like. But then I think that's actually kind of relating to that. What you're saying is, I actually took that opportunity as like if I went to school and I tried out all these different jobs and really try to like navigate to see what I actually like or don't.
Yeah, perfect. Because I've met a lot of people that go to school to get a degree, and then they end up working in a job that they didn't even need to go to school and get a degree. Now they have to pay it back, and they'll never pay it back. They're going to pay it back till they're 60, 70. So But the hard part about that is, and I don't like to dump on schools because I went to school, I got the degree. I'm fortunate that I didn't have to pay for it, right? So I would have been pissed if I had to pay for it because I'm not even using it. But I got a lot out of just being in school and experience, but it shouldn't have cost that much for the experience I got. But when I first went there, it was like, you'll figure it out. Just take these general classes. Okay. Now you got to decide what you want. Okay, what are my options? I don't really want to do any of these, but you got to pick one. Okay, I guess I'll just do this then. I guess that makes sense.
What you're saying is nobody asked you, what do you like to do?
Nobody asked, and there was nothing available. That's the thing about school that I don't like, is because like you're not truly, the amount of people that I helped get into school that just had to choose something got out and like, or towards the end of their program, it's not, the more I get into what I'm doing, I don't want to do this. This is what I got to do every day. Yep. But you might as well finish because you owe financial aid. So you don't want to just not have a job after all this. How many people you've met that is like, oh, I'm going back to school? Because they don't know what they want to do. So they go back to school and get another degree. And they go back, they are trying to avoid that realization of like, I have to do this forever. Everybody is cool. Have you ever like looked at people that, and I don't make fun of these people, I hope people take this the right way of my intentions. Everybody celebrates the person that is graduating from college. The pictures, I made it, da-da-da. Everybody's excited. For what? You know how much money that person owes and they don't have the job? Be excited that they got the job. But they're just like, and it's this big thing and they're taking all these pictures and all that stuff. And I'm like, I know how much money you owe. And now you have to go get a job. And now you have to pay back all that money.
Which is like a full circle to what you were talking about when we started this.
The full circle. And I'm like, you're back in the, that's a part of getting you in the rat race. I have to pay off these bills. I have to have a job. I have to do this because what else am I going to do? But when they set me up, when I look down at the college courses, I have to choose one of these. I'm not passionate about these. So how am I going to be passionate about my job? I don't see purpose in this. So how am I going to find purpose in the job that I get? But once you've already went down that road and you graduate, you have to take the next step. You have to, because you have bills to pay. Not only your personal bills, you got to pay back this education that you really don't want, that you can't even use. So that messed me up when I seen they're allowed, I have to think differently outside of this scope, right? So instead of looking at a career that I wanted, I looked at a life that I wanted. So I was like, all right, I want time freedom. Because I remember my job telling me I couldn't travel. I want to be able to travel whenever I want. I want to be able to work from wherever I travel. I don't even want to feel like I have to stop working. What if I just love it and get paid to do it? When I got my first check from helping people, doing what I loved, game changer. I was like, yo, it wasn't even a lot. I promise you. It wasn't a lot, but it was just the fact that I took a chance and everybody didn't think that it was going to work. Nobody wanted to support me. And the fact that I was able to help somebody, that was better than the money. And then the fact that I got the money and I'm like, I'm paying bills. You guys understand? I'm paying bills from things I love doing. That wasn't my reality 8 years ago. It wasn't. I would look at the account, I'm like, I'm about to go blow this money because I feel unhappy. I'm going to see if I can be happy at happy hour. I wasn't happy at happy hour. I wasn't happy at the clubs. I'm going to buy bottle service and be around all these people. They're going to love me. That wasn't the love. But the people that are love me now, we can just go hang out. You don't have to do anything. Have dinner and have the times of our lives. Traveling around, helping people, inspiring each other. I watched how some people talk to people. I'm like, that was awesome. I'm going to go. I feel inspired to go change a life. I get to talk to the person that comes and fix my windshield. And to see how I can be of service. That's when I learned. I listen to a lot of Jim Rohn's, like, find a way to serve. How do I serve many people? That's what I started to look for, things like that. Instead of a specific job, it's like, how do I help as many people as I can? How do I continue to work on myself and they benefit from that? How do I become a present father to be able to be around my kids? Because I don't want to make a lot of money and next thing I know, my kids don't know me. Like, that would suck. Yeah. I've literally been around my kids every day. I mean, unless I travel, but every day I raise them. My wife works a corporate job. I've been to every doctor's appointment before they were born. I've been to all the doctor's appointments when they get sick. Shots, first walk, first words. That's rich to me to be able to, I can do that without worrying about my bills. Like, I'm cool. I'm making money while I'm spending time with my kids. they're seeing me interact with people. Now my daughter is dope. She can talk to anybody. She has the tool. She's seen it in real life, and it's becoming who she is. That's what I love. I'm like, I have an impact on them. I can leave a legacy now. Like, I'm not just making. I met a guy that told me, I'm sorry, I can talk a lot.
No, this
So
is all
please
really
stop.
great.
Yeah,
Though.
this
Don't
is
stop.
great. Yeah.
I met a guy, and he seen me. This was before my son was born, so my daughter was like 2, and he seen how much time I was spending with her, and he was like, "Man, that's incredible." He's like, "I was fortunate enough to start a construction company. I made a lot of money." He said, "I made enough money to my wife that she didn't have to work. She was able to take care of our kids." He said, "What you're doing is special." He's like, "Because I don't have a relationship with my son." He's like, "I have a relationship with his son because I'm retired and I get to spend time with him. But I don't have the relationship with my son." And in my mind, I battle because, yes, I did great because my wife got to take care of them. But I wish I would have had that. And I can't repair it. I'm trying. It's so far gone. He's a grown man with a child that my time is with his son. I missed out on those years, right? And I don't have to miss it. Like, my daughter starts school on Monday for the first time. I get to go. I can go anytime. Like, hey, all right, I'm coming. I'm gonna come check in on. Like, I can go.
That's
and it's like close to our house. She's at recess. I can take my son and go, hey, you see your sister, and go play at the park. Like, that's the life I imagined, right? And I'm living it. So it's like, that's the dope part for me, is like, I'm creating what I really want instead of chasing money, instead of chasing cars, instead of chasing the things to impress these people that don't care about me. Like, that used to be, I'm like, oh man, coming where I come from, like, I didn't have anything. So of course I had money, bad purchase on a car. It was 19% interest, 19.75. I didn't know anything about this. All I looked at was like, what's the payment? I got money, I'll pay that. Let's roll. My wife looked at that, she was like, oh my God, that should be illegal. You should not have to pay that much. I had a Lincoln LS, guys. I could have had a Lexus for how much I was paying for that.
Dang.
BMW. She was like, you're paying like $800 a month with car insurance and car payment.
Wow.
I didn't know about money. Fast forward, my wife is smart. What do we have now? Both cars paid off, debt free. We sold our house. We're living in a rental that's paid off. We have money now to invest in buying another rental property or staying, moving into another house, using our current house as a rental. Whatever, we have options. I didn't think like that. I was thinking I got to just make a lot of money and ball up. No. So I had to grow and learn over time and put myself in a position of like, I didn't have to get a Lexus. I got a Honda Pilot. It gets me to wherever I need to go. Because if I do go get this, it's for other people, right? Like, I don't even spend that much time in my car. I work from home. Where am I going to go? I'm just going to drive in my Lexus all day to where? Like, those things never crossed my mind until I started to see other people do it. Like, now, in my business, there were people who were successful before me that did it. They made the mistakes before I even got there, right? They bought the S550s and all that stuff and tricked them out and was taking trips. And then all of a sudden I see them, man, that was a bad purchase. I sold that. I got a Prius. But they had to learn around other successful people that were better with money because nobody taught them. So I'm learning about life lessons. They're teaching me about how to take care of my money, how to invest my money. And like, my job didn't do that. They didn't care. They didn't care if I spent time with my kids. They're like, yo, what do you want? How do we help you get that? My job never asked me those questions in corporate America. They literally was like, this is the job description. You either do it or you don't. And if you don't, you know what's going to happen to you. If you do, we'll let you know if we'll give you a raise or not. I needed money sometimes. I couldn't go make more money. It's like, that's all the hours we have. Sorry. Now, as an entrepreneur, if you need money, you go make money when you need it. You can literally get up and go. Go help somebody. Go find a way to serve. Product, service, whatever it is, go help people. One of the setbacks or challenges in the beginning, being told no. When you get that many no's and you're like, I really am good at this. I promise you I could help you. And people are like, nah, I'm good. Or they just waste your time. I hated people saying they were going to do something, show up, call anything, and they didn't do it. And I'm getting set up in it. But that's a part of it. It's the part that's going to come with it. But I feel like it was robbing me from time with my family. And that's important time. So if I'm like, all right, sorry, kids, I can't do this. Daddy's going to go do a call. I'm going to go meet this person here. And then they don't show up. That used to just infuriate me. But then I learned how to better set up appointments, how to check in early, how to let them know, how to get a feel for it, or make them come to you so you're not doing all the work. Because I used to just do so much for people that I felt depleted. And I was giving so much of myself, and I cared so much that when people hurt me, it really hurt me. So I built up these walls. I had to learn how to let that go. I had to learn how to the same thing is like, if you build up a wall to block out hurt, you still block out love. You still block out all that. So it's like, okay, I have to learn these things, right? But I'll let you guys, if you have any other.
That is amazing, though. No, honestly, I feel like you're definitely like living the American dream now, because you definitely like went through all this like experience and all these like challenges like in life that kind of just like turned your life around, where you're like, you know what? No, I'm going to have full control of my life and create the life that you want to have. And just last question here, like, would you think that maybe that transition kind of happened as well too? Maybe because you had like a family, you started a family, or yeah.
It got I would say I'm in a constant state of growth and change, as I think we all are, but I'm becoming more intentional. These different philosophies that I learn, books that I read are allowing me to like, all right, don't force flow. What does that look like? Like things like that, right? So it's allowing me to do it, and it changes from time to time. Like different seasons, different things are happening. One kid was different than two kids. One kid was different than no kids. Like life was constantly changing, right? My time was I had to learn how to be more intentional with my time. I had to be more intentional with who I was hanging around, because that's an influence on my kids, right? So I had to imagine what I wanted it to look like. What type of people do I want around my kids? That stuff started to manifest. I started to meet those type of people because I knew right off the jump, like, okay, that's a dope person. My daughter will love to be around her. My son will love to be around him. I want them to see this. So it was a lot of stuff I had to do for myself, and a lot of stuff I had to manifest before it came into it. But it changed after kids. Yes, it changed after being married. It changed after moving to Fort Collins. Like changed after the pandemic. So it's always changed, but you have to, I feel like if you are clear on what you want, you start to find some philosophies that are going to ground you, because the decisions are made before you have to make them, if that makes sense. Like if you have the right philosophy, you know how to respond to things instead of react. Like, okay, this is what I want in my life. So, okay, that doesn't even serve me.
It's like you know what to look for.
I know what to look for.
It's like you're like tunnel visioned.
This is what I want. So I'm going to see all that. Like how they do marketing now. Like if you click on something, you're looking for a new car, it's going to pop up on your Facebook. It's going to pop up on your television. Like they're going to keep putting it in front of you, right? So if you know what you want, the universe is going to keep putting it in front of you. You just got to know what you want. It might have been there the whole time. You just didn't know that's exactly what you wanted. So it was just there. It was just sitting next to you, like my phone. It was just there. But when I was like, man, I need to call somebody. Oh, okay, I got to call somebody. It's like you have to turn those antennas on, and you have to be patient enough to know that it might not happen right there. You know what I mean? It might not be right there. It might be you have to take a few more steps to get closer to that, right? So I think those philosophies allowed me to see life differently. So it allowed me to respond differently. So I started to make better decisions. But I'm not afraid to make mistakes, because I know that's my greatest. So I can just do it. Like, all right, cool. Like I'm gonna learn something from this. So I'm just gonna go do it. And then I also can step away and like, that doesn't serve me. So I'm not doing it anymore. But I'm open to learning. I know everything is a learning process. Everything is. No, I don't care what it is. Successful or not, you're going to learn if you're open to learn. I can listen to anything. I can watch a movie, listen to a song. I can hear my kids talk. If I'm open to receive it, I'm going to hear it. It could be a conversation that's happening next to me. Like I'm always going to learn if that's what I want, right? If I'm in the state of searching, I find it. If I'm not, I'm going to miss everything around me. So that's one thing that I've learned is like, I'm going to always be open to learn. I'm just going to be, whether I use it or not, I have to let those antennas have to be up, and I have to let it come in. Now, when I'm clear, I can decipher. That's for me. Like when like I had one of the wealthiest women, I won't even say women, person. I have NBA friends. This lady makes way more money than them, like way more.
I'm like Oprah.
like not Oprah, but like this is the richest person I ever. Her guest house was a huge house. She was next door. To give you, her neighbor was Peyton Manning, but you couldn't see Peyton Manning's house.
Wow.
That was her. She's like, oh yeah. He's like, you can't even see the house.
Wow.
That's how far it was, but that's their land, right? And I love, like, this lady was awesome, right? And she was one of the people that had said something about, she didn't give me an ultimatum, but she was trying to tell me, like, if you want this, this is what you got to do. And she's successful, and she's been successful for a very long time. And I want her success to, like, when I played, like, Chris Humphries, I can't go anywhere with Chris Humphries. Like, there's going to be paparazzi there. I don't really like that, right? My wife was like, I'm coming to the game when he was still playing, just because Kim Kardashian, she was like, I watch the Kardashians, I want to meet him. Like,
That's
stuff
the only
like that,
reason why I'm like,
that you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? That's how a lot of people knew him. So he got that fame, and I'm like, I don't want to be famous to where everybody has to, like, be in my face.
Yeah.
She's famous. I seen her at the Cherry Creek Mall. Nobody knew who she was. And I'm like, yo, what's up? And she's like, hey, I'm just shopping. But I'm like, she's ridiculously rich. Jet, everything. She owns, like, this big ranch that I got to stay out on, like, all this stuff, right? I was like, but the person she is, the people she met, one of my favorite motivational speakers is Jim Rohn. She met Jim Rohn. She has pictures with him. She has notes from him, like, from his word, not me just listening to the recordings all the time. She's like, no, I've been on trips with that guy.
Wow.
And I'm like, Jim? Uncle Jim? Really? That's my guy. And she's telling me all these stories. So I look up to her with the utmost respect, right? But I remember standing for myself when she was telling me, like, this person did this, and if this is what you want to do, then this is what you have to do. And I remember saying, I'm not going to do that. And she kind of looked, and people don't say that to her, but I'm so confident, like, I'm clear, and I won't be happy if I did that. And I understand what you're saying, and I know I have the skills to be successful if I did that, but it's going to create a lifestyle that I don't want. The money will be there, but the lifestyle won't. And that's not what I want. And she kind of was taken back, like, did you just really say that to me? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, I respect it. And we're still cool. But I feel like if I would have done it, I would have ended up resenting her, because I would have blamed her. Like, you made me do this. When it's my fault. I chose to do it. But people do that, right? You resent them, like, I didn't want to do this. I knew I shouldn't have did this, and now I don't want to talk to you anymore. And I probably would have ruined that relationship. But out of respect, I wasn't mean when I told her I didn't want to do it. It was just like, no, I truly see what you're saying and the value in it. That's not how I want to design it. And in this opportunity, I get to design it. And I designed it the way I want. So now that I'm in it, it's weird to people, because I don't really have to stress. I don't have to overwork. I don't have to do all this stuff. And some people are like, oh man, we about to do that. I'm like, I'm good. But you can get to that label doesn't really define me. Like, I know I can move up this hard marketing plan. I can get there. Why? I mean, if they did it, why can't I do it? But I also know that this moment right now that I have with my kids before they go to school, I want. And I put myself in a position where I don't have to get that uncomfortable or struggle or take away time from them right now. Now, once they go to school, I'm about to have all day again. Like, what am I going to do?
Right.
I'll have that time. But right now, I've already decided that this is their time. I'm going to be able to hang out with them and do the work. If it's part-time, cool. If it's sometime, cool. I'm okay with the results from that. I'm good. Because if I have to, if something happens and I have to, I know how to go do more. So I'll do it then. But right now I don't have to. So some people are in that survival mindset and they can't get out of it. And I respect the hustle because I've been there. But their goals are not my goals. I know people without kids that are like, well, if you really love your kids, you don't know what I do for my kids. My kids are happy. The people that they are, I'm seeing because they get to spend so much time with me. They're different. Like, I watch my kids, I'm like, man, their emotional intelligence is, for me, it's normal, right? Because I'm around them. I'm like, that's how kids are. Then I get around other kids. I'm like, whoa, okay. So when people meet my daughter, it's like, oh my God, like, she's so smart. Like, is she in second grade? I'm like, oh, she just turned 5. She just turned 5? Yeah. She speaks she uses these words because she gets to spend so much time with me, grandpa, her mom. She's smart. She's asking questions and getting them answered. What if she was in a classroom with 20 people? How many answered questions? How much love is she getting? Like, I literally kiss them all day and tell them I love them all day. Constantly. And I get to teach life lessons. Like, she's so smart. I'm like, Reese, that's called bragging. And you know what that is? She's like, no. I was like, I know you're excited about your new things, This literally was 2 days ago at the park. She went to the park and brought all her stuff. Look at my new watch. Look at my new purse. Look at my new shirt. Look at my new shoes. And all these kids are like, okay. And they were older. And I looked. I have to let them make mistakes, right? So I watched and I listened. And then her little brother, that's her best friend. He went over there. Get away. Move. Get away. I watched. I listened. He got sad. The kids went away. Hey, come here real quick. Let me talk to you. You're not in trouble. Do you know what bragging is? No. Well, sometimes if you have something and you show everybody without them asking you, it can be like bragging and they can get annoyed or jealous because not everybody is as fortunate as you. Not everybody gets a new watch and new clothes and new shoes. Some parents don't have the ability to do that for them. So when you do that, it kind of makes them sad. And she kind of put her head down. I was like, you're not in trouble. I'm trying to teach you. Do you understand? Yes. Okay, so if you have something that you like, you can wear your watch. And if they ask, then you can tell them. If somebody compliments your shoes, then you can tell them. The great way to get somebody to ask about you, give them a compliment first. My daughter gives the best compliments. Parents are like, oh my God, thank you. Oh, my earrings? Oh, my hair? Like, but they're not used because other kids don't care. They don't look at that. She sees that and like, but she also knows that she might get a compliment back. And then she does it. So the funny thing though, some other kids came and she just putting her watch all in the air and fidgeting with it, trying to let them, trying to get them to see it. But she just turned 5, so I get it. But then I said, hey, you know your brother loves you. That's going to be your best friend for the rest of your life. Some friends are going to come and go, but you should never make him feel bad to impress anybody else. So next time he comes, he just wants attention, Reese. You're really great at making friends. He's very shy. So when he comes up there and just says something, just say, hi, this is my brother. He's 3. Everybody say hi. He'll walk away. He just wants the attention and to know that his big sister that he loves sees him. Because every time he climbs something, he's like, hey, look at me. Look what I did. And calling her name. And she's over there playing with other kids. I'm like, I see you, buddy. It's okay. He just wants the validation. So she did it. He went off and played. And I was like, do you see? So she's learning these lessons that I'm watching her apply.
Right.
And I don't feel like all kids will get that if they're not spending that much time with their parents.
I see.
Sorry, I keep going. But
That's
dude,
like,
don't be sorry,
oh
man.
my
It
gosh.
sounds like, honestly, it sounds like everything that like we're looking for. It. You're just explaining the best examples. Again, examples of you finding out how to control your life. Yeah, that's what it is, man. You're in control. That's goals. Yeah, I want to feel like I'm in control, and that's what freaks me out. That's what makes me feel like I'm a slave. That's what makes me feel like it's a rat race. That's what makes me confused. That's what makes me come and sit down and want to talk to people like you so I can try to figure out what it is that's for me, you know? Like, and for a long time, even when I started my job, like realizing it early, it's like, you know what? Well, I just need to find some more value for myself and then figure out the things that I like to do. And I started doing things like that and it started making my job easier, right? Yes. But then it's like sometimes that's not always like the great thing, but it's like it feels good to like focus on whatever it is that you're passionate about because it makes everything else so much better. Like that is what richness is or like happiness is. It's chasing the things that make you happy and the things that you enjoy.
Yes.
And I admire that so much that it sounds like you've found like that control factor.
Yes, thank you.
That's everything that I'm looking for, man. So everything that you talked about today, I mean, I'm sure it feels like you're like, well, I didn't even give you guys a chance
I'm all
to
over
talk.
the place and I'm just
But dude, it was perfect, man. Like you hit everything on the nail. Like there's so many things that you went over in there that we try to talk about in this podcast that it's like literally everything from the rat race, everything from the hating my job, everything from the I'm going to school, I don't even know if I'm going to use it, to the taking the risk, to the people not supporting you that you thought were going to be there, you know, all of that, to the starting a family and having the extra motivation or the motivation to want to be there for your kids and to not have to work the 40-hour jobs that everybody else is working with and getting comfortable with. And it's just like, it's so perfect, man. Like that's literally the best example of what it is that we're trying to find or set the example of or figure out how to do. You hit everything on the nail, dude. And
thank you, man.
Dude, I admire that so much, man. It's fucking perfect, man. Seriously.
And I think it's so crazy too that you mentioned that, you know, this might have like happened out of like, what do they say?
I feel like
out
this
of coincidence.
Is
or like if it's like meant to be, you know what I mean? Because like you mentioned that you want to have like something where you can help other people. And then like coming on here, that's the same thing that we're trying to do as well too. And here we are trying to sit together and have a conversation and share some knowledge. So
And that's how we align. Think about that. Like for in order for me to be here, what had to happen?
Right.
If you guys didn't take the risk to even start this, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I had to reach out to Jenny from the block. I love calling her Jenny from the block. And it was funny because like Jenny energy was there. Like even on the phone, I was like, oh, she seems super nice. And then she was just super polite. And I was like, oh, I like being around nice people. Like internally, like I automatically want to just be around good people. So you guys are good people. Your energy is good. Like I'm like, all right, y'all are cool. Like I'm gonna hang out with y'all. Like whatever I can do to help, support, whatever. I'm gonna invite you to things. Cool. But I don't know how I'm gonna help people. And that's what I think I told you that. I was like, yo, my purpose is to connect with people and find a way to help. I don't know how I'm gonna help them. It might be somebody that they know that I might be able to help, but I know I have to keep reaching out, and it's almost like tentacles. I have to get to as many people as I possibly can to see what comes in.
yeah.
Because it's literally in my daily life. Like I just go around and meet people, and some people are awesome and some people are not awesome.
Yep.
The people that are not, I just like, all right, cool. Like, okay, cool. We're gonna keep
Have
it
a good
moving.
day.
You're gonna keep it moving. I don't want that energy in my life, but we're
Right.
just gonna keep moving. But I know, and I get the signs. But to get here and to be around, I'm like, yo, that's awesome, man. So first of all, I just want to give you guys kudos, and I know you guys are just starting off. Like, keep going, man. Like, even if this brings no profit, and you love it, and you get to meet people, and you get to get inspired, and you get to share them, you found a way to serve, right? That's the key. If you can find a way to impact people and it makes you feel good, that's amazing. Now, you'll find a way to make money. You'll find it's going to come. I don't know how it's going to come because I didn't know how I was going to get to where I was at. I just knew I wanted it. I kept imagining it. It was always in my mind. So anytime opportunities came, I jumped at it because I kind of knew where I was like, all right, I don't know how that's going to work. But I never wanted to do modeling and acting. That wasn't a goal. Somebody approached me about it, and I was just kind of like, I'm good. That's no. Because I didn't know. I was like, I don't know what that is. My wife's like, you should probably look into it. It might be cool. I took a chance. I went out. I'll meet with them, see what they say. I heard them crush feelings at this thing. And I'm like, oh, I'm bracing myself like, yep. Say whatever you want. I don't want to be here anyway, so I don't care. I almost got up, literally. I legitimately almost got up like, I'm not finna let them talk to me. Like, because I could hear what they were saying to people.
Dang.
Like, they told this guy, like, all right, well, you're handsome, but you look like everybody else, so no thank you.
Wow.
How old are you? You look 17. No thank you.
All right.
Why is your eyebrows like that? I'm like, oh my God. Like, this is brutal. I didn't know it was this brutal. I thought they were like, hey, yeah. So I'm bracing myself like, yep, this is a wrap. And then they were like, okay, we're looking at your pictures. Do you still look like this? And I was like in shape. I was like, yeah, I work out. And he was like, okay. All right, go talk to my sister.
Look like this.
She didn't know if I like gained weight or whatever. And
You just stick out your belly
right,
on purpose,
like,
huh?
I'm all right. So then I met another. She was like, yeah. She was like, I work with high fashion models and runway. But Diana can take a look at you. But she was like, you got a lot of tattoos, so I don't know how that's gonna work. And I'm like, cool, I don't want to be here anyway. I'm bracing myself, right? I don't want to be here anyway. I don't care. And she was like, no, great. Tattoos are just with some people, but it should be fine. Like, yeah, we can get signed today. I'm like,
Wow.
what? She's like, you can take the contract, looked over it, and yeah, we'll love to have you. Okay, what next? Then they start, and then I'm like, they're gonna scam me. I'm looking up all this stuff. It just didn't feel real,
Yeah.
right? Because I'm where I'm from. I'm used to like people trying to scam you. So I'm like, I'm not. Let me look into it. Show my wife. She's like, all right, cool. That's legit. I looked them up. Okay, they're like the top one in it. Okay, it's down to Baldwin, by the way. And I'm like, all right, cool. This seems legit. And they were like, you got to get a portfolio together. And they showed me how much money. I was like, I'm not paying that. Then I looked at another guy that I had met that I was like, oh, it seems like you're on the website, dude. What can I do? He's like, oh, dude, you don't have to do that. There's a thing called trade for print. Go here, reach out to these people, see who wants to trade you. I got dope pictures for free
Wow.
instead of paying $500 to $1,000.
Yeah.
Losing money before I ever started.
Right.
Booked that Toyota that I told you came back to help me. Booked that my first week.
Dang.
Amazing. I never took an acting class, and I had to speak. I was like, I gotta speak. I thought I was just gonna smile. I can smile. Hi. I thought that's what it was. And they were like, I got there and people were like, yeah, and they're going over lines, and it's like, you know your lines. I was like, I didn't know there were lines. I'm like, I'm about to
snap.
walk out. This is,
Oh
they're not
my
finna-
gosh.
And then this guy, and I'm talking to people, and I'm like, they start using terms I don't even know what they were saying. I don't even know what that means. And he's like, so yeah, do you something? Pretty much ask me, am I off book and do I know? I'm like, yeah. He's like, okay. Luckily, I'm a watcher. I observe. I can learn. I'm coachable. Playing sports. I didn't have to go first. There were 7 people. I was the 5th person. I got to watch the director
nice.
coach them on what to say, how to say it, cadence. And I was just preparing like, cool. Okay. All right. I can do that. All right. That's simple. Cool. And then when it got to me, I still was nervous. That was my first time ever speaking. So I heard my voice like I'm hearing it now.
Oh, yeah.
And I was speaking so fast. Yeah, Toyota has it. And I couldn't stop. He's like, take a deep breath. You got it. And then I just did it. And I was just like, oh, I imagine it. All right, there it goes. And I did it. Boom. It was playing. I was like, oh, that's super dope. That money came back to save me years later.
Wow.
That's crazy. That was crazy. So things like that, I feel like if you just keep putting yourself in the opportunities, that some will pay off, some won't. If you learn, you learn. That's the best thing. That's the best that I can get out of it, is like just learn, grow. And you never know how one opportunity leads to another opportunity. Like, we don't know what may manifest from this. You don't know who I might meet and like, yo, you got to go on that podcast. Like, we don't know. But the more you put yourself in a position to win, the better chance you have.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, again, thank you so much for coming on our podcast. And actually, how can people find you?
Best ways, Instagram. I have my Facebook is like, it's just the same stuff I float over there. So, MR, so it's Mr. _ Impact, IMPACT 24, Mr. Impact 24. And yeah, just reach out, man. Like, I try to post stuff that's inspirational. I have a link in my bio that talks about like wellness profiles and how you can get nutrition advice, fitness advice. But most of the time I'm just trying to inspire people. I show my life pretty much. I don't try to put like a business page and then personal page. I just like, yo, I try to make things as simple as possible, because like I said, I used to complicate things. I was like, look, this is me. I am business and I am personal. This is what you get. So I'm not saying anything that people that do that. I just don't want to manage 2 pages. I don't want to manage more than I got 2 kids I got to manage and myself. I don't want to manage anything else. So
myself.
It's just, yeah, I'm trying to work on myself and keep myself together. So yeah, Mr. Impact 24 on Instagram. And yeah, I would say that's the best way.
Awesome.
Heck
Sounds
yeah,
good.
man. Zarek, thank you so much for the time, man.
appreciate
this was
it.
great. I'm going to listen to this a couple times because I know there's a million gems in there.
Gems.
There's so
you guys
many
have
things.
some editing to do.
There was just so
I
many
don't even
things that I
think
feel
so.
like I can relate to. So
Man.
Yeah.
I loved it, man. Thank you again for the opportunity. Thanks for giving us the time and coming down here and sitting with us, man. So
Yes.
Absolutely.
this was great.
Thank
I loved
you.
it.
All right. Thank you, amigos.
Absolutely. Let's get out of here.